What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Kalu, and today, guys, let's talk about, guess what it is? Dragon Ball. Shocker, I know. Today, we're gonna talk about Dragon Ball. What you're seeing on the screen, probably a dead giveaway that we're gonna talk about Dragon Ball today. But anyway, I guess before we get into it, I haven't done that many videos on YouTube yet, but from the few that I've done, I think I found that doing discussion videos like this so far seems to be my favorite kind of video. I kind of just like, being able to talk and yap about something that I love, which is Dragon Ball in this case. So today, let's talk Dragon Ball. So all right, to get right into it, next week, literally like next week, next Saturday. Today is Saturday, January 17th. Next week, Saturday, January 24th, is the Dragon Ball Genkidamatsuri. Now, in case you've been living under a rock, you might be thinking, what is the Dragon Ball Genkidamatsuri? Well, you've come to the right place to find out. So, the Dragon Ball Genkidamatsuri is a special 40th anniversary celebration. Be part of the epic celebration as Dragon Ball marks its 40th anniversary. Get ready for exclusive announcements, exciting new updates, and a stunning showcase of the latest Dragon Ball content, all coming together in one unforgettable event. Catch the stage event live on the official Toei Animation YouTube channel. Don't miss out on the ultimate Dragon Ball celebration. Alright, so they're really hyping this thing up. Personally, from the way this thing has been hyped up, I don't know. I hope I'm not gassing it, but to me, whatever they're about to showcase here is giving me the vibe that the second another Dragon Ball renaissance is on the way. We haven't had a big Dragon Ball renaissance since Battle of Gods. Battle of Gods back in I think 2013, I believe it was what spearheaded pretty much the new era of modern Dragon Ball. And I feel like something similar is on the way. I don't know. Maybe I'm gassing it. But I don't know. We'll see. But yeah. So basically, there's gonna be some cool events and whatnot. They're gonna talk about the future of Dragon Ball. They're gonna showcase games, merchandise. Sounds like a really cool event. I wish I could go there, but it's only Japan only. But yeah, and I think you can't even get in without doing a lottery system thing anyway. So if you're able to go, if you live in Japan and you're able to go, consider yourself pretty lucky. I certainly wish I could be there. So yeah, there's gonna be a live stream link for the events. I'm gonna put it in the description below, so you guys can check it out. So I live in the East Coast of the United States, so my time, the stream is gonna start. I think the link will be live at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday night, and the actual showcase begins at 8 p.m. my time. But in Japan, it's going to be 10 a.m. So it's going to be in the morning in Japan. So here are some of the things that are going to be, well, pretty much all the things that are going to be gone over at the event. So first, from 10 to 10:45 a.m., so that's going to be 8 to 8:45 p.m. my time, exclusive announcements, Genkida Stage Part 1. And the speakers will be Masako Nozawa, aka the voice actress of Son Goku, and the Dragon Ball series executive producer Akio Ioku. So, this is one of the big projects that are being hyped up for this event. A lot of people are theorizing an anime, a movie. We'll talk a little bit more later about what I think could be coming. Next event is the Genkida Stage new game announcement. So, yes, a new game is going to be announced at the event. The speakers for this will be series executive producer Akio Ioku, Dragon Ball games producer Masayuki Hirano, Hironobu Kageyama, who sings a lot of the famous Dragon Ball Z movie openings and endings, and what else? Jin Furutani, he's the producer of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. So yeah, new game is going to be announced. And that was even brought up by the official Dragon Ball Games Twitter over here. A new Dragon Ball game will be unveiled this January during the Dragon Ball Genkidamatsuri event in Japan. So we have confirmation that a game is coming. Maybe I'll give my thoughts on like what I think that could be. Then after that, executive announcements part 2. Same speakers as part 1, Masako Nozawa, Son Goku, and Aki Ryoku, the series executive producer, and more. So I wonder who else could be joining them. Then there's going to be a stage for Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Legends, and Genshin Squadra. This is like a few days, a few days before the Dokkan Battle 11th anniversary. So maybe they're going to show off some 11th anniversary stuff. I don't know. Fusion World and Super Divers. I feel bad because I don't really know who these people are, but they'll be there. Let's see. Weekly Dragon Ball News on Site Edition. Okay. Victory Uchida and Victory Asada, they'll be there to give some Dragon Ball news. And Genkidamatsuri special live stage. Hironobu Kageyama, Masako Nozawa, and Aki Ryoku. So I guess they're going to be closing the event out. So this is kind of going to be like an all-day event pretty much. I'm probably not going to be awake for the whole thing because this starts in the morning of Japan. And it's going to finish towards the evening. So by that time, I'm going to be asleep probably. Or it'll be early in the morning and the event will still be going on. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's kind of like a rundown of what to expect at the events. Like I said earlier, I'm going to put the live stream for the events in the description below. From what I've seen, there's only been like a Japanese link to the event, but I guess you can use like, the YouTube translation feature. I think I heard that there's supposed to be an English one too, but maybe that'll come out later. If that does show up, I will put a description for the English. I will put a link for the English live stream in the description below. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for this, I'm excited to be getting more Dragon Ball content for sure. I know there's some people out there that don't really want Dragon Ball to come back, and I get it for sure. Maybe that could be a video for another day, but personally, I'm excited. What can I say? I just love Dragon Ball, and yeah, I'm really hoping that the things that I want to see from this event will end up happening, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But before I get into what I think / want from the event, there has been some discussion I've seen about whether this and this are actually two separate announcements. When the news of this event came out initially, people thought, we all kind of assumed that these were two different announcements that were going to be two separate projects. Two separate projects have been hyped up. There's been some talk that there's actually only one project. Maybe it's been a mistranslation. Maybe there's not two after all. I don't know. I guess we won't truly know until when the event goes on. But on one of Rhyme Style's videos from a week ago or so, he was talking about the event a little bit, and that's when I went to the comments and said that there's been some talk that the two announcements thing might have been a mistranslation. We might not even be getting two new projects. And that's what he said, it's two. Now, Rhyme Style is a YouTuber. Of course, you guys probably already know who he is. I know YouTubers tend to get some insider information every now and then, but I'm not gonna say that he's 100% credible. I mean, I really don't know. So I'm hoping it's two. Not sure, but like I said, we won't know until we get to the event itself. So I guess now I can talk a little bit about what I want to see from the event, and as well as some other ideas that I've been seeing float around in the Dragon Ball community. So, the biggest rumor that I've seen surrounding the event is one of the possible projects that could be announced, and it is a Dragon Ball Super remake. Now, personally, the number one thing that I want to see come out of this event is the return of Dragon Ball Super. I think the return of Dragon Ball Super is long overdue. I feel like Super is the most number one demanded thing amongst all Dragon Ball fans right now. Like, yeah, there's gonna be some people that don't want it to come back. They think Super is bad, or whatever, blah blah blah. But, dude, the return of Super is definitely the most in demand thing, amongst like Dragon Ball fans right now. Like, most Dragon Ball fans want Dragon Ball Super to return. The last episode of Dragon Ball Super aired in 2018, and then we got the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, and then Superhero came out in 2022 or 2021. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it's been 6 years, I think. 6 years since the last episode of the Dragon Ball Super anime, and people have been wanting it back. Like, the hunger and demand for Dragon Ball Super has not died down. And I think it's time. Bring it back. Bring back Dragon Ball Super. We all want it. We all want it bad, alright? So, the thing with the return of Dragon Ball Super, right? So there's been a lot of talk that Super will return as a remake. Now, what does this mean? I don't know. I don't know exactly. I've been hearing so many things about, like, the Dragon Ball Super remake, alright? So, I guess, like, one of the things that I've been hearing about this potential Super remake is that the Super remake will follow the Dragon Ball Super manga. So, in case some of you don't know, I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but the Dragon Ball Super anime and the Dragon Ball Super manga, they both tell the same story, but they're a little bit, like, different. Like, different events happen in both the anime and the manga, but they ultimately tell the same story. They kind of just go about it a little differently. Like, for example, what's one example? A Tournament of Power, right? I could think Kefla, for example. In the anime, Kale and Caulifla keep the Patara earrings as like a last resort in case they're in trouble, and use it to fuse against Goku, right? In the manga, during when Kale and Caulifla are fighting in the Tournament of Power, I don't remember who exactly they're fighting, but during their battle, one of the Patara earrings falls out of Caulifla's pocket, and they're like, and I think she's like, oh, like I dropped this, I stole it from one of the gods earlier, or whatever, that kind of thing. And ultimately, both versions of the story lead to the fusion of Kefla anyway. What's another one? Let's see. In the Goku Black arc, Zamasu uses his like corrupted form. He's like, half his body turns corrupted. That's in the anime, and in the manga, I think a bunch of like Zamasu clones happen towards the end of the Future Trunks arc, but they ultimately kind of lead to the same ending. So you see, those little differences are kind of what make the Dragon Ball Super manga and anime different, but they all kind of lead to the same events anyway. So there's been like some theories that the Super anime remake is gonna follow the manga, be more manga accurate, and yeah, some people have like, they're not against this idea, some people are against it, and I definitely understand both sides, because for a while now, people have been wanting the galactic, what's the official name for the arc? It's the Galactic Prisoner Saga. We'll just call it the Moro arc, right? So the Moro arc, I think, has been a thing since like 2018 or 2019 in the Dragon Ball Super manga. And since then, it hasn't been animated. There's no like Moro anime at all. Moro's not in any of the Dragon Ball games. There's no official Moro figures or clothes. None of that. So people, we've been wanting the Moro arc to get animated so that Moro can appear in the games. We can get some of that Moro merch. So I definitely would understand if people would be upset if the Moro arc ended up not being animated right now, and we ended up getting the Dragon Ball Super manga remake that starts all the way back from Battle of Gods and kind of goes up all the way into, like, the Moro arc. I honestly, I think I'm down for either one. I think I'm more in favor. I'm not totally against a remake, right? I'm not against a remake because, like, for starters, I think it's a bit silly that the Dragon Ball Super anime and manga are like two different stories, but they're also not. You know what I mean? So I would be open to a Dragon Ball Super remake if it follows the manga and it becomes the more, quote unquote canon or definitive version of Dragon Ball Super. Because having two versions of the same story is confusing, it's weird, and honestly, it doesn't really make much sense. Like, what other series does that? I don't know. But I think it's time for us to have one version of Dragon Ball Super that we can follow and have it be the definitive, like, quote, canon version of Dragon Ball Super. Because having, like I said, having two versions of the same story is definitely a bit weird. So yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to a remake because, like, I feel like if they were really gonna take their time to remake, if they were gonna, like, decide to go the remake manga route, I feel like that would imply that they would eventually animate the Moro arc, the Granola arc, the superhero arc, Black Frieza, and eventually, like, what else? Whatever else comes after. And I think them animating the manga would imply that the manga is returning at some point, because the manga now has been on hiatus for a couple years after Akira Toriyama's unfortunate passing. So, to me, a remake or, like, a remake of the manga would, to me, imply that they have plans to eventually bring back the manga. I think any return of Dragon Ball Super right now is like an indication that they have plans to remake, or not remake, to animate, to continue, like, releasing more chapters of the Dragon Ball Super manga. I know a lot of people have been wanting that. I don't know if I see that being announced here, because I don't know if Toyotaro is going to be at this event, but we'll see. Maybe the manga is returning and it'll be announced here. Who knows? But those are kind of my thoughts on the potential Dragon Ball Super remake. If the Moro arc were to be animated, it would kind of be weird if they did that, because, like, the Moro arc, I'm not 100% sure about the Moro arc, but I know for a fact that the Granola arc, which comes after the Moro arc, references events that happen in the manga only that did not happen in the anime version of things. So I guess if they were to animate the Moro arc, it would continue being this thing where, like, both versions of the story are different. Like, the anime is going to continue doing its own version of the story, the manga is going to continue doing its own version of the story. Personally, I kind of just wish that they would just, like, stick to one version of the story and go on from there. Like, I really don't think we need two versions of the same story anymore. Like, let's just get everything uniform, and yeah, that just makes the most sense to me. I'd really prefer if things were uniform between the Dragon Ball Super anime and manga. So that's one reason as to why I'm all for a remake, to be honest. But if they did bring the Moro arc back and they kept going, like, the anime kept doing its own thing, I'm not 100% opposed to that too. But I don't know. I'm not crazy against a remake. Plus, if we get it like a manga remake, we get to see, like, things we haven't seen in the anime, like Super Saiyan God Goku during the Universe 6 vs 7 arc. There's Super Saiyan Goku Black, Super Saiyan God Vegeta in the Goku Black arc, all that stuff. So we'll see. That's kind of like my take on the whole Dragon Ball Super remake rumor going around. But all in all, the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime is definitely the number one thing that I want to see from this event. So, remake from the manga, moral arc, anime version doing its own thing. I'd be cool with either, but I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'm leaning a little bit towards a remake. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know if I'm bugging for that. All right. Another thing that I've been seeing tossed around in terms of like a super remake is that they're gonna create a super remake in a way where it ties the events of Dragon Ball Daima into Dragon Ball Super. I don't know how that would work. I guess they'd kind of like they'd insert Dragon Ball Daima elements to Dragon Ball Super. Like maybe we'll see Super Saiyan 4 in a newer version of Dragon Ball Super, so it could better tie the two shows, the two series together. I don't know. Um, there's been some, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not Dragon Ball Daima and Dragon Ball Super are connected to each other. Low key, it wouldn't surprise me if one day it actually does end up being the case that the two stories are connected, because it's just modern Dragon Ball. That's kind of just how modern Dragon Ball works nowadays. Like, don't be surprised when we get the next chapter of Dragon Ball Super and Goku's like, I haven't been to the Demon Realm in a while. Like, I wonder how Glorio and the gang are doing. Like, don't be surprised when that happens and all of a sudden Dragon Ball Daima is connected to Dragon Ball Super. Like, we'll see. But, there's that. Speaking of Dragon Ball Daima, the next thing I want to talk about is Daima Season 2 or Daima movie. Now, there's a lot of people out there that think that we are going to get a Dragon Ball Daima Season 2 or potentially a Dragon Ball Daima movie. Now, personally, I got the impression that Dragon Ball Daima is done. There's nothing that really stood out to me and made me think like, oh my god, like what's gonna happen next? Like, are they gonna make a season 2? I didn't really get that vibe from the ending of Dragon Ball Daima. I know there was like that little bit at the end, the post-credit scene with the two other third eyes. That's got people thinking that there could be like a Dragon Ball Daima movie or season 2. People have been saying that, oh, we didn't really see Goku and the gang leave the Demon Realm, but I'm just like, do we have to see them leave for there to be like a season 2? Like, I don't know. I just Daima seems done to me. I don't know. There's also been like in part of the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot DLC at the end of the Daima one. Slight spoiler for the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima DLC, but there's like a post story thing where like Goku kind of misses being a kid again, and he had fun doing so. So one of the clerks at the shops offers Goku like this bug that he can eat to turn into a kid again. So people have been seeing this and they're thinking like, oh my god, Daima season 2 confirmed, Dragon Ball Daima movie, and I'm just like, bro, that is simply just a video game mechanic that is allowing you to play as mini Goku again. I really don't think it's an indication towards Daima season 2, a Daima movie, a Daima continuation whatsoever. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know if I want to see more Daima. I'd be open to a Daima movie, especially if it'll connect like the events of Daima and Super. Like the movie could act as a bridge between like Daima and Super if they really do want to connect the two stories. We'll see. But I'd be open to a Daima movie if it is announced alongside the return of the Super anime, and more so if it acts as a bridge between Daima and Super, if that's the route they want to go. I don't know if I really care for like a potential Daima season 2, but I don't know. We could get that. I don't know if they want to do like a Super anime and Daima anime at the same time. That would be a lot of work for Nozawa, and she's not exactly like a young person anymore. Like, she's a legend and all, but I don't know. I really don't know if she'd want to voice do two anime at the same time. So here's my thoughts on potential Daima news being announced at this event. Next, A Dragon Ball slash Dragon Ball Z remake. So another idea I've seen tossed around is a remake of the original Dragon Ball manga. So a lot of people don't know that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z are one story. Kid Goku slash Pilaf all the way to Majin Buu, the Spirit Bomb finisher. A lot of people, especially here in the States, think that those are two different stories. Dragon Ball ends at Goku defeating Piccolo at the 23rd World Tournament, and Dragon Ball Z starts when Raditz appears. But that's not the case. They're all one story in Japan, and a lot of people don't know that. So people have been floating around the idea that maybe we could see a remake that connects the two stories into one, thing. And I say the two stories, but they're not actually one story. Like, we could get an anime remake of Kid Goku all the way to the end of Majin Buu. And no, I don't think that's a bad idea, to be honest. I just don't know if now is the time, really. I could see something like that maybe being announced for like a 45th or a 50th anniversary celebration, for sure. But I don't know if that's something I could see happening right now, especially because of how high in demand Dragon Ball Super is. Like, I feel like, I don't know. And this is gonna, not everybody wants to hear this, but Kid Goku, the original Dragon Ball story, from Kid Goku all the way to the 23rd World Tournament where he defeats Piccolo Jr. I'm sorry to say it, it's just really not as popular as Goku's stories as an adult from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, etc. It's just the unfortunate truth. Even Daima, when a lot of people were turned off with the idea of Goku becoming a kid again, because a lot of people just, they just prefer adult Goku. A lot of people just aren't really into the kid stuff anymore, And I know a lot of, the beginning series starts with Goku as a kid. And I don't think anybody, most people probably don't really want to see that right now. I don't think it's a bad idea at all, but I think there's another time for it someplace else. Like I said, maybe 45th anniversary or 50th anniversary. It's definitely something I think needs to happen for sure. We need a proper anime that animates all of the original 42 volumes of Dragon Ball into one anime, and great animations, art, etc. No filler, no nothing. Just one-to-one anime, manga to anime adaptation. We definitely need that for sure. So I think it should happen. I just don't know if I want to see it right now. Would I be upset if it was announced? If it gets announced instead of Dragon Ball Super, I would be a little gutted, a little disappointed. But it's something that I think needs to happen. So I'd be happy if it got its representation. But all in all, the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime is definitely what I want to see the most, for sure. I know I brought up the potential Dragon Ball Daima movie. Like I said, I don't know if I see more Daima coming. It could, but I don't know if that's what I see happening. People have been thinking that the new movie could be the return of Cooler, the return of Janemba. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know how I'd see the return of Cooler happening, because I could see the return of Cooler happening if Cooler isn't Frieza's brother, maybe. If this version of Cooler was not Frieza's brother, because this deep into the story, it would kind of be weird if Frieza, all of a sudden we found out that Frieza has a brother, you know what I mean? And he's just as strong as Frieza. That would be pretty weird, but I mean, hey, it would make for some hype moments and aura, so maybe the people wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know. But yeah, as for Janemba, I think Janemba could work in a Daima movie, especially with all the Demon Realm talk, and Janemba's pretty much a demon. So, I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to be announced in terms of the two projects yet for the Genkidamatsuri event, so we will find out next week. For all we know, we're not even gonna get the return of Dragon Ball Super. We might not get a movie. We won't know for a week. But the number one thing that I want to see come out of this is the return of the Dragon Ball Super anime for sure. Let's get some more Super out here. Let's get the moral arc animated. Let's continue the manga, so on, so on. And a new movie would be cool. Like, you know, I would love to go watch Dragon Ball in theaters again, for sure. And whenever they do a new movie, I hope that we get the dub and sub version of the movies in theaters at the same time. It's 2026, and there's no reason as to why, like, you know, the Japanese version of the movie comes out 2 months before the dub version of the movie comes out in theaters. Like, that is just ridiculous. We've had Chainsaw Man and Demon Slayer movies come out in 2025 in both sub and dub in theaters at the same time. So there's no reason why Dragon Ball shouldn't get the same treatment, right? So there's that. And in terms of a Dragon Ball game, like the one they talked about here, what could I see from a game? I don't really know. Maybe we could see Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. I think 2026 is going to be the 10th anniversary of the Dragon Ball the Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is turning 10 years old in 2026. And they're still getting DLC. Like, I know some DLC just came out for that game, so do I see Xenoverse 3 happening right now? I don't know. But I think it would be pretty cool if they announce Xenoverse 3 here for sure. And another game that I've been seeing, like another idea for a game that I've been seeing tossed around, is Dragon Ball Super Kakarot. I had a talk with a friend a little bit ago about how Dragon Ball Super doesn't really have its own standalone game, like console game really. And that's a pretty valid point. Like, even GT has Dragon Ball GT Final Bout. There's been several Dragon Ball Z games, of course. Even OG Dragon Ball has some of its games of its own. But Dragon Ball Super doesn't have like a game solely focused around that series, you know? So, a Dragon Ball Super Kakarot wouldn't be... I wouldn't be opposed to that game. I know Kakarot kind of just got some DLC with the Daima stuff, so we will see. We will see. Speaking of Daima again, I know a lot of people have been thinking that Daima was coming back because like how much is being pushed in like Kakarot and Dragon Ball Legends with their recent Dragon Ball Daima characters. But I think another way you could look at it is that they're trying to push out all the Dragon Ball Daima stuff right now while it's still the new Dragon Ball thing, you know? They want to push all that stuff out right now so they can get ready for the new stuff that's coming in, right? So that's kind of my take on that. We could see a Daima resurgence in the event, but I don't know. I feel like we'll see. But I think I've kind of covered everything about the event, or like, you know, what's coming and part of like what I want to see there. Like I said earlier, definitely manifesting the return of Dragon Ball Super. I think that would be the most exciting thing that could come out of this event for sure. So, guys, please let me know what you think in the comments below. What do you want to see from the event? What do you think of everything I've said? I'll have the link in the description below. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the event. It's gonna be nice. Is it really gonna be the biggest Dragon Ball thing since the return of Battle of Gods in 2013? Or the announcement of the Dragon Ball Super anime? Some people have been saying that it is, and that 2026 is going to be the year of Dragon Ball. But who knows? Guess we won't know until a week. So guys, until then, it's been your boy, Kalu Solos, the future of Dragon Ball, forever.